Hello book besties! Welcome back to Porter Books. It has been a minute since we last spoke. I would say things have gotten worse since we last spoke, but like, little Eric LaRocca reference for you. But I also haven't read the book, so I can't. It's not a reference that I can make fully with all the knowledge, you know? But yeah, it's been a minute. I am hopefully gonna try to come back. Little life update for you. I've moved my bookshelves, and if you're like noticing that it's a little messy, it's because a car crashed through our window and hit some of our bookshelves, and so there are books all over the floor right now. We're still waiting to get a window. It's been like a month, so everyone's fine. All the glass is cleaned up. It's just getting another window in. Since we last spoke, I lost my job. I got a new job. I cut all my hair off. I got a new tattoo. Things are fun and exciting. Since I am very much desperate to get back into making booktube videos, but I'm like a little low on creative energy, today we're gonna do something very simple and easy. We're gonna do a little book haul, pretty big book haul. And we're gonna tell you all about the books that I have bought and picked up since my last video, which was in like April, I think. So it's gonna be like a summer haul. Anyways, I got my coffee, I got my books. Let's go. Some of the books that I bought this spring: Me Moth, which is a beautiful narrative poetry book. Advertised to be a horror, but it's not. It's not really a horror as much as it is romance and a coming of age and a finding yourself story. Absolutely gorgeous. Fen, Bog, and Swamp by Annie Proulx. I realized after reading this that Annie Proulx is also the person who wrote Brokeback Mountain, which is the weirdest realization for me. But yeah, Fen, Bog, and Swamp talks about fens, bogs, and swamps, and it's just like a nonfiction about wetlands and wetland conservation, mixed in with like a bit of like stories from Annie Proulx's life, but mostly it was like a really, really good nonfiction that I really enjoyed. If you want to learn about wetlands and wetland conservation, yes. Dear Thorin by Akwaeke Emezi was such a beautiful book. My wife read it and then told me to read it, and I like couldn't stop thinking about it for like a month. This is such a good semi-autobiography. It's like Akwaeke Emezi writing letters to the people in their lives. So good. So haunting and harrowing and like incredible. Silver Under Nightfall by Rinchi Peko is another one that my wife read and then I read it afterwards. And it's Rinchi Peko, and I usually really enjoy Rinchi Peko's writing. This one is mind-blowingly good. It's like a polyamorous vampire hunter romance. The romance is not like the main focus, but it takes a pretty big part of it, and then there's also like a plot about like war between the species, basically. I adore this book. And you should read it. I did actually put it on my birthday wish list that everyone reads Silver Under Nightfall, so like if you want to give me a birthday gift, read Silver Under Nightfall. I won This Is How You Lose the Time War in a giveaway on Instagram. This is like one of my all-time favorite books. It is a gorgeous exploration of love across timelines and universes, and it's about two Time War agents on differing sides and how they communicate and how they fall in love. I finally got a copy of A Marvelous Life by Freya Marsh. This book, one of my all-time favorite romances, changed my life. I loved reading this. It's a historical fantasy where people do magic with like cat's cradle movement, you know, the thing with like when you have the string between your hands. Oh, hi. You heard cat's cradle and you said, hey, you could cradle a cat? Such a fun read. The characters are strong, the world building is strong, the romance ripped my heart out, and it was just so good. It was just so good. I also picked up hardcover copies of Gideon the Ninth and Harold the Ninth. I'm still waiting for Nona. If you don't know what these are about, they're about lesbian space necromancers. They're really good, but they're also really weird, and you have to be okay with not understanding what is happening. I keep recommending these books to people, but I have to be honest in like, you have to be okay with not understanding the books. If that's a problem, these books are not for you. But these are so much fun, so engaging and baffling and mind-bending. I can't help it. I just want to support the lesbians, which is why I read these books. We also picked up a hardcover copy of An Unkindness of Magician, and then because it came out but we haven't read it, we also picked up A Sight of Shadow, and like, they're so beautiful. Just like the covers on these books, absolutely gorgeous. I adore An Unkindness of Magicians. I have to reread it before I read A Sight of Shadow, but we're working on it. There's a lot of characters that I don't remember, but you know, some books that I didn't buy myself, but that were sent to us from a friend that I'm like, adore. Thank you, Elizabeth. Skinny copy of Les Mis. Like a children's version. Bullseye Step Into Classics. It's written as a letter from Jean Valjean to Cosette. I'm very excited to read it. I love children's versions of Les Mis. I'm still like working on expanding my Les Mis library, but one day I will own every single copy of Les Mis that has ever been published, I'm sure. Elizabeth also sent me a set of the His Dark Material series. These are editions that I did not already have, and they're really cute. I'm also loving that they're saying like soon to be a major motion picture, which like it sure was a major motion picture. Elizabeth also sent us some Tamora Pierce books. This is the third and fourth book in the Immortal series by Tamora Pierce, and my wife collects different editions of this series, and we were missing these two from this set, so it's very exciting to have the complete set. Next comes the part that I'm very excited about, in which I show you my birthday haul. I'm very blessed to have been able to go to a bunch of different bookstores with some friends for my birthday, and I also had some friends give me gift cards, which enabled me to buy a lot of books, which we love, especially since I lost my job. Very grateful for that. So we picked up a copy of Galatea by Madeline Miller. I also picked up this neat copy of Ovid's Metamorphoses. I've actually never read the full Metamorphoses. I've just read parts, so I'm sure one day I will get to it. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, you have seen my obsession with Heaven Official's Blessing. So part of my birthday haul was the full series, which is great. I read this in like 2 weeks. I could not stop picking up the next book. It now lives rent-free in my brain, and I can't stop thinking about it. If you didn't know, Heaven Official's Blessing is a danmei, or basically a Chinese gay romance story. In this story specifically, we follow a god who has been cast out of heaven twice. After he ascends the third time, he runs into a ghost king, and they fall in love. Cover art is absolutely beautiful. There's also a show on Netflix. They made an animated show, which, if you want to check it out, is definitely worth a shot. I really enjoyed it. I have to say that I have complications. I have complicated thoughts about this series, where I sometimes struggle a bit with the writing because it's written in like a very oral sense, and sometimes it can be a little jerky. It gets better as the series continues, but I'm guessing a lot of it comes from it started as a web novel, and so a lot of it comes from being like a web novel serialization turning into paper books. So it's like a little different to read than a lot of other books that I'm used to. But it is my current obsession, so you're probably going to see me talk a lot about it, both here and on Instagram. Then I was able to visit a pretty new local bookstore that I've never visited before, called Paper Birch Books. If you live in Edmonton, you should check out Paper Birch Books. It has now joined my favorite bookstore list, along with Daisy Chain Books and Audrey's. So like, those three hold the trinity of local Edmonton bookstores. Paper Birch Books have a lot of beautiful classics and like absolutely gorgeous bound books. So I was able to pick up, my wife and I got this edition of The Secret Garden. And it is just stunning. It has little sketches. I have yet to read The Secret Garden, I will admit to that. But I'm sure having a pretty copy will make me pick it up, right? We also got a stunning copy of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass, which, does this one have? Yeah, this one has pictures, which is pretty cool. I think this one we're gonna give away to someone. But it's like such a wonderful gift, right? Who doesn't love beautiful antique looking copies of books? And then the one that I'm most excited about is a copy of some of Henrik Ibsen's plays. And like, first of all, it's a beautiful edition. Second of all, it has little illustrations for each play, which like I'm obsessed with. So the 4 plays included is A Doll's House, Ghosts, The Wild Duck, which like this one's a little silly. This one is a little silly. And then my favorite one, if I can just find the illustration, which is Hedda Gabler. I read Hedda Gabler recently, or like earlier this year, last year maybe, and it's like such an interesting play that very much haunts me. So like I'm really excited to have like a beautiful copy of this, and I can't wait to read more plays. Honorary mentions to the Hall of Books that I haven't read but that my wife bought and that are now on my TBR. Cackle by Rachel Harrison, which is about a woman who moves to a small town after breaking up with her boyfriend. And then she befriends a mysterious, successful local woman who may or may not be a witch. Which, like, what a neat concept. Reluctant Immortals by Gwendolyn Christie is about 2 characters from Jane Eyre and Dracula. So it's Berta and Lucy, and they get their vengeance upon the men that created them, which is a very neat concept, and I'm very excited to read it. It also takes place in the 1960s, so like, also listen to this blurb. This is a black rose petal crushed for generations in a moldering Victorian novel, one that's now steadily trickling blood down the spine, those drops collecting not in a cupped palm but the sharp corners of a mouth. That's Stephen Graham Jones saying that about this book, so like, it's gotta be a banger. There's also Who's Wellness For by Faria Roisin. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Which is about wellness culture and who it's for. And it sounds like a very interesting examination of the intersections between race and health and bodies and wellness, which is like fascinating. Last but not least, What My Bones Know by Stephanie Fu, a book about complex PTSD and specifically Stephanie Fu's own experience with complex PTSD and healing and trauma. We love a good trauma book. Or even better, we love a good healing book. And that's it. That's all the new books I have bought, which is a lot. There's been a lot of new books this summer, so I'm gonna have to build a new bookshelf soon. Yeah, once we get our window back, I'm gonna do like a full go through of our bookshelf, probably rearrange some things, and then we'll see if a new bookshelf is necessary or not. How are you all doing? What are you reading? What have you bought? What's the thing? If you like this video, drop a like, drop a comment, tell me if you read any of these books, hit that subscribe button. I am very excited to try to get back into YouTubing and making videos. I've missed it, but I just like haven't been feeling up for it. It's gonna be very exciting to slowly get back to it. Follow me on Instagram, which is where I'm like mostly hanging out all the time. I tried out Threads for like a hot second, and then I was like, no, I don't like it. I'm sorry, I don't get it. I'm not a Twitter person, and so like Threads doesn't make sense to me. Twitter is going downhill. We all know Twitter is going downhill. So I like that there is a Twitter alternative, but at the same time, I also don't care about Threads. I'm sorry. That's my hot take on Threads. Take care of yourselves out there. Love you all. I hope you're having a wonderful summer. and staying safe drinking that water. Take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!